Man, have I been waiting for this week to come. Earlier in the off season, I said it was too damn early to start releasing predictions while everyone else was already doing it. I thought it was stupid because the draft hadn't even happened. So, now that we're past that, now that OTAs have passed and a little bit of, some other news came out, it's time to actually go through with these predictions. Let's dive right into it. Week 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars come down to Houston. And the Jaguars are no longer a team you could just brush over and, whatever, that's a win. They have a top 5 defense, in my opinion. They have one of the best, if not the best, group of receivers in the NFL. And they got themselves a rookie running back that's, in my opinion, can be really good. But I see the Texans coming out on top of this game because I think our front seven is going to be able to easily contain Leonard Fournette. They're going to hold him to under 50 yards with like 20 carries, and they're going to make Blake Bortles actually have to beat them, and that's not going to end well for them. However, there's not going to be a blowout game. We're not going to be able to, just relax. This game's going to have us on the edge of our seats. This is going to be like a 17-13 type game. Hard-fought defensive battle. Let's move on. Week 2. We're at the Bengals for Thursday Night Football, and oh my God, we're better than the Bengals, honestly. A lot better. They lost some offensive linemen, and if we don't have offensive linemen, you're going to stand no chance against the Texans, honestly, because our front seven's something else. But for some reason, Bill O'Brien just cannot get his players ready to play on a short week. And as you know, we're playing the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Yeah, this is probably going to be a loss, honestly. Even though we're better than them, O'Brien is 0-3 on Thursday Night Football. And for some reason, he always loses to a team every year, one team that we should have beat. And I think this is the one. Now let's move on to Week 3. We go up to New England, and honestly, I don't see us beating New England this time. Again, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a closer game this time. We're going to keep inching closer. This time's going to be probably like around, 24 to probably like 14, maybe 17 if we're lucky. It's not going to be a blowout anymore. We're done with embarrassments, honestly, if you ask me. So, after 3 weeks, the Texans are sitting at 1-2. Then we come back home to play the Tennessee Titans. And honestly, this team's completely overrated, overhyped. I see it as not per se an easy win, but one of the easier wins. Yes, they have a good offensive line, a good running game, but when they're going up against the front seven in the NFL, that's not really going to matter. And they don't really have like any receiver that could consistently beat our corners one-on-one. They don't have the corners that can shut down Hopkins, Fuller, and our other receivers. They have no one that can stop C.J. Fedora from down the middle. They have nobody that can stuff the run to stop Lamar Miller. So I see this as a win. So after 4 weeks, our Texans are sitting at 2-2. Week 5, the Kansas City Chiefs come down to Houston for a Sunday Night Football battle. Man, these Chiefs are really starting to feel like divisional rivals, aren't they? I think we've played them 4 times in the last 3 years, and we're probably going to play them again, honestly. And I just don't see us beating this team. We can't stop Tyreek Hill, because then how are we going to stop Travis Kelce, Those two weapons, A.J. Boye is no longer here. He can't cover the tight end. If we can't cover Kelce, who the fuck's going to cover Tyreek Hill? We pretty much got to pick our poison. They have a pretty solid defense, too. Honestly, I think the Chiefs are the only team that can actually have something against our defense, and I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, like the 30-0 embarrassment in the playoffs. It's going to be a closer game similar to last year's, but this time I see the Chiefs coming out on top. bringing our record to a total of 2-3 after 5 weeks. Week 6, Cleveland Browns. The Browns are no longer a pushover. Like, I can't look at the schedule and see the Browns and like, oh, that's an easy win. The Browns are a team that, in my opinion, is, up and coming. Jabril Peppers, they got already Ogba. They paired him with Myles Garrett this offseason. Yeah, it's a pretty decent team they're building. Their offensive line is solid, but they have no quarterback. They really have no receivers. I don't really trust Isaiah, whatever his last name is, Crowell, I want to say. And their corners in particular aren't really all that good. So I do see this as a win right before the bye week, bringing our record to 3-3. So as you all know, we have a bye week at week 7, which I don't really like that much. But there's not much to talk about. It's just a bye week. We're sitting at 3-3, which is pretty decent, if you ask me. 3-3 after 6 weeks. All right, let's move on. Week 8, we travel up to Seattle, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are already, counting this as a loss. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this is a win. Why? Well, every year the Texans, under Bill O'Brien, they always beat one team that pretty much they have no business beating. Last year, it was the Chiefs. The year before that, it was the Bengals when they were 10-0 or 9-0 or whatever the fuck they were. And the year before that, it was the Ravens, who were pretty much a playoff team. Or actually, they were a playoff team that year. So this year, it's going to be the Seahawks. And another thing to throw into there, the Texans always win right after their bye week. O'Brien's 3-0, and he's about to be 4-0. Overall, though, I think we match up pretty well against the Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks have a corner capable of stopping Will Fuller and his speed. Their front 7, besides Bobby Wagner and Bennett, isn't really all that impressive. Everything about the team really comes from the secondary, really. And on offense, as you all know, if you have a bad offensive line, you're not going to beat the Texans. And the Seahawks have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, if not the worst. So, after beating the Seahawks, the Texans are sitting at 4-3 above. Week 9, the Colts come down to Houston, and I want to say we're on a 3-game win streak on the Colts for the first time ever. We actually have a win streak on the Colts for the first time ever, and I think that's going to continue to a 4-game win streak, because I don't see the Colts' offensive line. If you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to beat the Texans, honestly. You stand no chance of beating the Texans if you have a bad offensive line. And the Colts, as you all know, have a terrible offensive line. In addition, they have a terrible defense, and their receivers aren't really all that great. So, after this win, the Texans are now sitting at 5-3, which is 2 games above 500, which is great at this point. Week 10, Texans at the Rams. We get to face off against old Wade Phillips again, and their rookie, extremely young, 30-something-year-old head coach. I don't see us losing this game, honestly. The Rams pretty much, what do they have? Todd Gurley, even though he was pretty bad last year, but I do see him bouncing back this year. Jared Goff, he's not that good. They have no receivers. Their defense is pretty good, I guess. They got Aaron Donald, who's an absolute monster. Robert Quinn was pretty good back then, but I don't know what's happened to him. Maybe he bounces back with Wade Phillips. Regardless, though, I don't see this team being able to beat us, honestly. So after this win, we're sitting at 6-3, which at this point is great. Week 11, the Cardinals travel to Houston. Honestly, I also see this as a win. I think Carson Palmer is old and washed up. I'm pretty sure last year proved that. I don't know why Bruce Arians sticking with him. Bruce Arians is an excellent coach, so I don't see this game being a blowout. They have David Johnson, who's going to be pretty, tough to stop. They have not that good offensive line, so our front seven is going to be able to feast on them. They also have Pat Pete and Honey Badger. Other than that, I don't really see this team coming back to that playoff form they were a couple years ago. I see this as a win, honestly, thus bringing our record to 7-3, which is absolutely outstanding. Coming off a 4-game win streak, the Texans head over to Baltimore for a Monday Night Football battle, and it ends here. The Ravens are a pretty good team. They're, last year they were a few pieces away from being a playoff team, and this year they added those pieces. I think there's going to be one of those games where nothing works for the Texans. Like, I don't think it's going to be an embarrassment, but it's going to be one of those games, you know what I mean? One of those games where things just don't go right, where you're pretty much just sitting there watching the TV all frustrated because nothing is going right. Honestly, I think this is going to be the game where that happens. I think the Ravens are going to come out on top. They have a pretty good front seven, pretty decent DBs. They just picked up Marlon Humphrey from fucking Alabama in the draft. So this team's pretty decent. They're not that bad of a team. And as you all know, we've had some pretty good games against the Baltimore Ravens in the past. We just haven't played them that much recently. I think the Ravens take one from us, one that we probably could have won. And then we go to Tennessee to play the Titans again, and the same thing as before. The Titans aren't a team that can beat us, honestly. They're a team that's terrible in the division, and I see us beating them, bringing our record to 9-4. So we actually rebound right after that loss. Now we got the San Francisco 49ers coming to Houston, and that's a win, bringing our record to 9-4. Now, week 15, we travel to Jacksonville. And honestly, this is going to be the same type of game that we played week 1. But this time around, I see the Jaguars coming out on top. I think at this point, Leonard Fournette, Cam Robinson, and the other young players on the Jaguars got their shit together. At this point, they're actually playing good. They're winning games, getting ready for next season pretty much. They're on a little hot streak right now. And I see the Texans losing this one. So, the Texans aren't going to sweep the Jaguars this year. The Texans aren't going to clean sweep the division this year either. Unfortunately, as much as I would like that to happen. So now the Texans are sitting here at 9-5. Week 16, Pittsburgh Steelers at Houston on Christmas Day. This is going to be a good one. Two of the top-notch teams in the AFC, upper tier teams, and I see us coming out on top. I see us completely shutting down Le'Veon Bell and pretty much terrorizing Ben Roethlisberger throughout the game. The Steelers don't really have that good of a defense to stop. I mean, they don't have that good of a defense. If the Texans are facing a good defense, they're probably going to lose. But the Steelers don't have one, and I see us completely shutting down Le'Veon Bell. Many people probably have this game written down as a loss, but I'm going to go ahead and sketch this one in as a win. So that's right, guys. The Texans, under Bill O'Brien, have 10 wins. They will not go 9-7 for the 4th straight year in a row. That's right. They're going to beat the Steelers. And this game's going to be important because it's going to have some playoff implications, because now the Texans have a tiebreaker over the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then week 17, Texans at Colts. In the past, we probably would have written this as a loss, but after these past 2 years with Bill O'Brien, honestly see this as a win. At this point, the Colts have packed up their bags. They're done with the season, pretty much not even trying. The Texans, however, if they get a win, they could probably secure the 3rd seed at this point over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, the Texans are going to actually play their starters this time on week 17, and they're going to win. They're going to beat the Colts, and go 11-5 and secure the number 3 seed in the AFC. So let me know what you guys think about my predictions on the Texans season, and make sure to comment down below your own predictions on the Texans season. And thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Texans content, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.